Hey, welcome to the Gig Show. I'm your host, Jim Dorman, here with my co-host, Dan Cody, back with the show after it's been a couple of months, but we're raring and roaring to go. I guess whatever you want to say. We got I'm really excited for our guest today. We got Mark Regalbuto, who, for anybody who knows where we film right here, is that the Abington Cam resides within the Abington Middle and High School. Mark is actually an English teacher here at the school, but he's also, got a lot of music in his background and his heart and in his soul. So really looking forward to speaking with Mark today. But Dan, I want to talk a few things about what you've been up to, because we haven't caught up in a little while. But I've done a little bit of the hockey games here with the Abington Cam, and someone told me I should get a nickname. Everybody seems to have a nickname around here. So I'm thinking of Stormin' Jim Dorman. I've heard that one before.
Right
how
away,
does that sound? What do you think?
That has a ring to it.
I was thinking for you maybe like Dangerous Dan Cody.
Yeah.
Or Dan the Man Cody.
Dangerous. I like James Bond. So kind of.
All right. Well, maybe Dangerous Dan, and we've had you on the acoustic guitar here, but I've seen you on the electric guitar, so things can get pretty dangerous.
Yes, they can. You got to give me 10 feet clearance all around.
10 feet, which I think. Well, while we're on the subject, then I think we've had some problems with people being able to play out. Obviously with COVID and Spike and things. Hopefully, you're starting to kind of go back. So you going to be having that electric guitar out anytime soon?
Yeah, actually, March 18th with SPX, we'll be at the Cottage Bar in South Weymouth.
Wow!
So that'll be a Friday night, day after St. Patrick's Day. Yep.
I know you guys are famous for your Sunday nights, first of the month. I don't know if that'll ever start, if that'll get going again, but a Friday night, that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
That'll be great. So that'll be the full band and electric.
You guys ready?
Yeah.
Raring to go?
Ready. Got some new songs coming into the mix, so it'll be fun.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, fun.
And what about, we had Tom Hamilton on last time. I know you guys are in the band together, but you also got Matunic Road. Anything going on with that? Yeah,
actually, we just recently lined up a gig down in Matunic, Rhode Island, which the band's named after.
Right.
At the pub on Saturday, February 26th from 3 to 6. And Tom and I will be doing all the great acoustic songs and sing-alongs and fun stuff for the pub. So that'll be looking forward to it. I remember going down to see you guys at the same pub, right? Yeah.
So it was amazing, and the crowd loves you guys.
Yeah.
I know, depending on when this comes out, we might be missing that. It's also a long drive for anybody in the local area here. But hopefully you have some more gigs you guys are coming up. I know I love it when you play the Mooring in North Weymouth.
Yep.
But
so fingers crossed things keep going in the right direction with COVID dissipating, and we can all get back out there and enjoy live music and have fun and not have to worry. And
do you ever think you might let friends come up and play songs with you and stuff?
Absolutely. We're always up for anybody coming up to join.
This guy, maybe? That's cool.
Stormin' Jim Dorman.
All right. I can see that. There might be some expectations with that nickname. All right. So, and I know big news. We got some big news, though, in the Dan Cody camp. Mm-hmm. And what's that?
So I just released the second song off my upcoming album, the title track called Around the Dial. Mm-hmm. So that came out really great, and just got it out a couple weeks ago, and it's out everywhere. So now doing the hard part of promoting it and trying to get more people to hear it and share it.
Right.
So it's fun. It's a challenge, but that's the fun part of creating and getting your music out there. You got to work.
All right. Now, I've had a chance to listen to it, and I think we're going to get a little clip of it at some point here on the show, maybe right after the segment. But sounds great. I kind of like that beach boys vibe to it a little bit. Is that safe to say?
Yeah, definitely is. It was written shortly after the pandemic had really ramped up. So you're talking, May or June of that would have been 2020.
Yep.
And with all the doom and gloom on the news, it was just constant. I'm like, I got to get away from all the bad news. So I was listening to early Beach Boys and a lot of the early '60s records that have that fun spirit to them. Just real simple songs, but great spirit, and wanted to write something in that style. So that's what I came up with. But
Definitely has it. And I love a lot of instrumentation in there. Some of the things, and we got a little Hammond.
Gary Ticini on
organ.
the Hammond organ, and a little bit of a little guitar licky here and there, a little tribute to Dick Dale, kind of the surf guitar.
Yeah, from Quincy, Massachusetts.
So
where our guest also resides.
Yes.
There's a connection for you folks. What's one of the major images in the song?
Driving in a GTO.
Yeah,
For those who don't know, GTO is a muscle car.
Yeah. Did you ever have one? Know someone that had one, riding one?
No, I know family members who have had one or knew somebody who had one. I would love to have one someday. That's on my wish list.
All right. Now, again, I'm a little old, and I was, coming along in the 70s. People had some of these cars around, and I was never a big car guy. I mean, we had like a Buick or something, whatever. I didn't, but, people would drive some of these cars now. I think people would, kids had them sometimes in high school that would, people would die for these cars now, and I think about it like I used to think, oh, did this kid get this car or whatever, or I don't know, or like sometimes you get in the back of somebody's car, or you'd say, hey, let's go for a ride, and, they'd be driving around, you'd be like a back seat, like white knuckled, hoping you'd get where you're going to get, like car. These high school kids are.
Yeah, but
anyways, a lot of images there. Fun stuff. I hope people enjoy it, especially now with the next few months as we get into some nicer weather, and maybe people can enjoy going out and riding around or whatever.
Yeah. I got a video I'm working on for it, so we'll get that out in a couple months. So that will kind of just be fun.
Where did you record the song?
Hanover, Massachusetts, with Joe Clapp at Ultrasound Productions.
Awesome. They always do a great job there, right?
Yeah, excellent.
All right. Well. Just before we move on, I do want to bring up that I've been jamming a little bit myself. We've been having some, I'll call it the Johnson Jam. It's
nice.
Rick Johnson has been having folks over his house every other Sunday or something. I think we're going to be doing one coming up, and we got Mike Murray on mandolin.
Nice.
Play a little, we'll say rhythm guitar and try to sing a little bit. And Rick plays like lead guitar. It's great. And we're actually kind of stole your backup singer a little bit, Christine Johnson.
Yep.
She's been joining us lately. And Bob Swan, who we're learning has a crazy, he was in Pegasus and this band Critical Edge and knows how to rock out. So, you never know who's going to show up or whatever.
Excellent.
So it's been kind of a fun thing. So we'll see. Maybe we can open for you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Stormin' Jim Dorman and friends.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I do tend to sing more than anybody else, but I don't know if I sing well. But I'm learning. So anyway, why don't we're gonna take a quick break, and we'll come back with our guest, Mark Regalbuto.
Hop in my GTO, old school radio is ready to go. Let's tune in and see what we find. See what we find. Hey, let's go around the dial. We'll find some songs we'll sing along and smile.
Welcome back to the Gig Show. We have our guest today, Mark Regalbuto. I'm going to do the little introduction that I wrote. It's not that much, but most folks in Abington know Mark Regalbuto as an outstanding English teacher at Abington High School, and for a bunch of years in between at the Abington and Frollo, don't forget Frollo, middle schools. What they might suspect, but maybe don't really know, is that the Philadelphia native was once the frontman for a band called Speakeasy. Back in the day, back in the early 90s. And Mark always has music in his heart, always brings it into the classroom and at school, but today he's bringing it to the Gig Show, so we're going to talk about his career. So thanks for coming on, Mark.
Thanks. It's good to be here. Thanks for having me. Absolutely.
You're welcome. So how did your musical journey start? I mean, everybody has a thing that for me and Dan, we've talked about it before. You got older siblings and things. There was, some other people that had music in the house. We had Tom Hamilton on, and he talked about it. They had a band. They had a family band. How was it for you?
Well, I mean, for me, it was just a matter of sort of learning a little bit by myself, and just being very interested in music and appreciating that. I think there's always something cathartic about music, and I just loved music,
Yeah.
And I wanted to play, and I wanted to do all of that. I mean, I never really had any kind of formal lessons for anything or anything like that. A friend of mine, Billy, just drew some dots on like a white lined paper and said, here's where you put your fingers to like do the chords,
Basic chords.
Yeah, and I started with that and just started playing with some people who were kind enough to play with me, knowing nothing at the time, and helped me out a bit. And that's kind of how it started. I mean, it's late teens, I guess.
Late teens?
Yeah, sometime around there.
When do you think you got your first guitar?
I borrowed a guitar from a guy for just the longest time who didn't play.
Yeah.
And I just used that. And then I did get a guitar sometime, maybe 19, 20, my own, an Ovation. I was focused more on sort of singing at the time,
right.
But I thought it was so cool to play the guitar and it was so fun to do, And so that's why I ended up getting my own guitar, mainly to write my own songs,
So
just to write stuff.
You got into writing fairly early.
Yeah, because I was already writing poetry and I was already writing fiction and I was already writing. So I wanted to try to do something different.
Yeah, it's a logical kind of extension. A lot of times people start out writing poetry and then put it to music and see if they can do it.
Absolutely. It's like the next part of the progression, right?
Yeah.
That's really cool. So some people, I think this question comes up with a lot of writers or musicians. Does the music come first or the words come first? It sounds like for you the words would come first.
Nah, for me the music comes first.
Okay, so how does that work?
Well, I play and then if I find a rhythm that I think sounds kind of cool, and then I just start humming over it, and then I fill in the words to the syllabization of the humming.
Okay.
And a lot of it'll just be like, I'll get, so how they say, even with writing, that it's 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration, they say. And so what I do is I kind of get some kind of idea or some kind of phrase that sticks with me or that comes out of it that's inspired, and then sort of build around that. But I go with usually with a melody first, and then fit the lyrics to the melody. Is what I typically do. Wow. I've never really written, and some people do that, like some people write the words and they're able to do that, but I think those are for the people who are really good, like not. Do you know what I mean? Because they probably have more control over their instruments and what they do. You know what I mean? So they're able to be a little more versatile musically than lyrically.
Yeah.
Right?
How about a first song or band that really hit you that helped prepare you, helped progress your music? And
well, I remember being a kid and it was all Kiss for me when I was a kid in the 70s. It was all Kiss. I had all the albums. Kiss was awesome to me. And then I remember putting on, my stepmother had a 45, and it was Hey Hey What Can I Do on one side, an Immigrant Song on the other side. I remember putting that on and being totally blown away. Yeah. And then later, but as far as the writing is concerned, I think I'm more inspired by early Bowie and T-Rex, Alice Cooper, Sabbath, things like that. But I like all kinds of other things too. I grew up listening to oldies, because my mother and my family, I live over to Redding and the Temptations, and even you go back the Platters and things like that.
Awesome.
I just love that stuff. Wish I could do it. Love it.
That's great. I knew you had a kind of a very varied background, but it's great to hear you articulate how that all came about.
Did you have a Kiss Army patch?
Totally. I had the comic book. Right?
Yeah.
The Kiss Army, it was awesome.
Did you put the makeup on?
Nah, never did the makeup, but I did do it I was Paul for Halloween. Yep, I was Paul for Halloween, okay, even though Ace was my favorite.
Yeah. The old costumes with the plastic mask.
Yeah. Was it plastic mask?
Yeah, no, I did the paint.
Oh, you did. You did.
I just didn't have silver paint, so I had to be Paul.
Yeah, all white.
Exactly, with the star, that's it.
That's great.
So how did it kind of get develop into kind of playing with others and having a real band?
And I mean, that's the most important part. Well, I was playing with this guy, Joe, who was a really great guitar player. He's an awesome guitar player, still plays today. And he had a friend named Gene who was a bass player, and we were just writing at the time. But then I said, you know what, I want to like audition for bands. I want to try some things and do something different. And that's when I saw back then they had the Musician's Grapevine. I wouldn't even know how to find it today, you know, like they had this, you would go buy a paper and it was the Musician's Grapevine. They would have phone numbers, what they're looking for. It was like a classifieds for music. And I saw that the band was advertising there. They weren't called Speakeasy yet or anything.
Yeah.
And they drove me out to Delaware County, and we, they gave me a tape and said, here, what can you do with this? So I was so into it, you know, and I just started writing stuff right away. I had a chorus, and I was working on a song, and they called me back like a day later and said, so we're interested to see what you got. And unfortunately, because I was so into it, I already had something.
Yeah.
So we went over, we played the song. The song was called Miss Strange. I sang it, and they played it, and they were really great musicians, those guys too. So it was like all new for me, you know. And they're like, "Hey, let's do it. Let's call it a band."
And how old are you now at this point?
It's probably like 20,
Yeah.
maybe somewhere around there.
And like, what
Late
kind
80s.
of bands do you think these guys are into, and that you guys kind of like maybe would?
Well, I mean, the band had a phenomenal guitar player. He's a great teacher and a great guitar player now, Chris Gordon, at the time, and it was like such a privilege to play with him at the time, and we just were a band, like wrote songs, and he was sort of all kinds of intense guitar work, like the arpeggio, the sweeps, things like that, like really cool stuff.
Wow.
And he was. So we wrote the songs, and it was a very interesting way of writing because it was out of my comfort zone, which was great because that's how you grow. You know what I mean? So I did learn a lot with that, and playing with them. It was so fun. It was like really my first band.
Yeah.
Really, and it was a lot of fun.
And at this point, you're doing originals?
Yeah, it was originals.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
Wow. Okay. All originals.
all originals.
And what kind of gigs did you guys start?
We were just doing like some local clubs and things like that in Philly, Delaware County, and then we played a couple of shows at the Trocadero, which was kind of big. That was awesome. You know, it's kind of cool to draw 150 people as an original band.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Like at the time, like wow, we made $20.
But you bought 150.
Exactly right. We each made $20. It's awesome, you know. But not for nothing. I mean, it was just they were just fun. I think we played a gig like down the shore in Wildwood at some point too. It was a lot of fun, you know. And bands break up, you know.
Right.
They do that, but it was really fun, and I learned a lot
Right.
from that, you know.
What did you guys have to do? Like, how committed were you to the band for that period of time? Like, as far as like things like promoting the band and all that.
We were
stuff?
definitely committed. I mean, we were definitely committed, I guess, within the bounds of what we were able to do.
Yeah.
Do you know? And I just sort of was following along. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I would write the lyrics. I would come up with melodies. If I couldn't come up with something, they say, "Hey, try this." So that was the really cool part about it. For me, it was more of just learning about music and learning about singing and learning about, you know, being creative with it. And you know, the other guys were doing stuff with we could play here, we could play there, or we can, you know, do that. So I didn't really have too much to say.
No. Were they a
about
little
that.
older than you, or?
No, we were similar in age.
similar,
I think
yeah.
we're similar in age. Do you know? Yeah, at the time. But that was my first band. It was
Yeah.
such a fun experience. You know.
That's cool.
Did you guys release any material?
Nah. We wrote some tunes. We played for a year or so, and then we split up. People went different ways, did different things.
Yeah.
You know, someone had an opportunity in the band to go do something, and then it split. And then a few of my friends from South Philly, my closest friends, my lifelong friends, I started playing with them, and we had something that we played for a while. Never really took off or anything like that, and did a lot of stuff in basement and just hung out at my friend Cheech's house, and we just had a great time just playing and playing and playing. And they're all in different bands and did different things, but I haven't had as much experience as far as like, you know, being in bands are concerned. Certainly not as a guitar player, more of a singer. I think I'm more my thing. I feel a little more comfortable just singing rather
Right.
than playing or doing both.
Did you play guitar in the band?
No.
You just sang.
Just sang.
Not
Yeah.
just.
Yeah, just sang. Yeah. Wrote and sang. I mean, like I can improv with a band singing, but I could never do that. It's like as a guitar player, because we were saying you get better by playing with people, and I've never really played with people
Right.
as a guitar player,
But I think that you enjoy being out there and performing.
Yeah, I have fun.
Yeah.
I like to write and I like to be creative and I like to play. I just like to play. Could be better, could be worse. But I just like doing it.
And not to overdo it, but did you like that? I mean, the stage persona type of thing when you get out front and everything. I mean, you move well and stuff like. I mean, I've seen you perform, but
Yeah.
like I didn't say it in the intro, but we've known each other since about 2007.
Yeah,
We've
yeah.
actually performed together in some open mics here. I think I got confidence in being able to play in front of people through that. We had our own informal duo called Regalbuto. We do sitting on the dock of the bay.
Yeah,
I think
we did a lot of stuff.
We do stuff spur of the moment, like hey, we'd get the sheets out. But sometimes we practice a little bit.
Yeah.
I usually just strum along. Of course, I wasn't gonna. Well, I sang sometimes.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
get some kids involved. Joe Janessa. Imagine who was a. I'm rambling a little bit here, but it was a great student. We knew him when he was probably like 11, 12 first time, and now he's just about graduating from Providence College, and
Yeah.
he's moving on to a career in music as
Yeah.
a teacher, as an educator,
Absolutely.
and a musician as well. He's doing some gigs.
It's
But I
fantastic.
remember doing the three of us getting together doing a Neil Young song or
Oh
something.
yeah, that's right.
So
Yeah.
but anyway, so I've seen you perform a lot, and I know when,
Right.
when even the kids and everybody it gets kind of excited because you know how to put on a show.
It's fun. Yeah.
But back then, did you do was it about like hey, I've seen the pictures, and I think we're gonna flash a few of your what you guys look like and stuff, and the hair,
Yeah. Yeah.
maybe the clothes, or I don't know
Yeah.
if you did anything else to make you guys had anything else on stage or whatever. I mean, back then, I don't know, people were doing all kinds of crazy things to kind of accentuate their performances.
Well, I mean, for me, it was more like, okay, so I'm a singer and I'm writing songs with this band, but now I'm on stage. What do I do now?
Right.
You're up there and you're like, okay, what do I do? Do I do something? Do I move? So you just move. You just move to the music, and the idea is that you close your eyes and you feel the band, and you just sort of use your voice to sort of blend into all of that. You know what I mean? And you move with whatever is sort of going on.
Right.
It depends. It depends on what's going on. It depends on the scene you're in and things like that. But it was the first time I was really thinking about not just singing, but being a front man in that sense. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
And I think that it's better to really just focus on what you're doing and focus on what you're singing and focus on just that musical part of it. I think that's probably the more important part of
Yeah,
it.
absolutely.
Because I think like if I couldn't do anything at all, I could still probably be a front man. Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? So I want to focus more on like the creativity of it and sounding better and sounding good. Like that's what I would
So you
want to
weren't doing
focus on.
scissor kicks and
No, right,
backwards
no,
flips.
exactly, no.
No, but you
I
could
jumped around the
yeah, but
stage and had some fun.
He's
you
got
know,
the
but-
microphone, and he
Yeah.
he kind of
You know.
bends over.
How
or
about the Roger
something.
Daltrey? Did you get that?
No, I would probably hit myself in the head. I would knock myself out.
He's a front man for another band that we've had at school. What we call the teachers.
Oh, the staff infection.
Staff infection, which I think is one of the most unique. I mean, creative.
Great name.
We're the staff.
For-
we're
for
infected.
a band. And is that still a thing, or is it? more in the past? I know some of the people.
Well, Mike's retired.
Mike Dorado was head of the art department until he retired.
Right.
Anyway, he's still he's in a band still.
Yeah, everyone's still around, but
Yeah.
now I'm over at the high school.
Yeah.
And some of the folks are at the middle school. But we could still do things.
Yeah, I know.
I can still see that happening with Charlie and Matt
Yeah.
over at the other school,
Yeah.
and Nick's over at the high school.
Yeah, we might have
Right.
some of the other members come on at some point. We're trying.
Hey, that would be
we're
awesome.
working on that.
Yeah, that would be
I don't know if
awesome,
we can
yeah.
get the whole thing on. Maybe that's certainly something too. But
Don't
anyway.
forget, we're sitting across from Storm and Jim Dorman.
Exactly. I mean, that's awesome.
What's your nickname besides other ones I've made up over the years? works.
Well, I mean, if you go to Philly, I mean, people would know me as Stromboli,
Stromboli, all right.
right?
Cousin of Spicoli?
No, because I
This guy's like city guy. You know, he grew up in the city. Like, you
It's
know,
really
they used to,
silly,
They used to
actually.
get the big wrench out and get the fire hydrants out when they
Yeah.
wanted to cool down in the summertime.
Yeah, you put your hands in so you can make it fly up in the air. You know.
It's the
Water.
attitude too, right? You know,
Yeah, it's
we got to get
definitely
more
attitude.
into that after the break. But you know, first I think it's time we'd like to hear one of your original songs.
Okay, cool.
So
Absolutely.
why don't we take a break and we'll have
Sure.
you do a song? What song are you gonna do for
The
us?
first one will be called Virtual Mind.
Virtual
And
Mind.
it's about sort of, I think that we're going in the wrong direction with too many screens.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
too much electronic, too many phones, too many things like that. You know, you got to be like with people. Like that's the real thing,
Right.
not like an image.
All right, I like that. All right, well, we'll take a break, and here's Mark Regalbuto with Virtual Minds.
Lady, I'd like to make you mine. In modern life, our love so very hard to define. And I don't have the time to make you see the difference between what's real and virtuality. No, no, why tie your heart up with all those strings? Don't you know true love frees everything it can't reach? Lady, what you hoping to find? The electric light of night is so far from divine. And I don't have the time to make you see. You're everywhere in the world with no guarantees. No, no. Why weigh your soul down with all those chains? All the world transformed, but the song remains unchanged. Maybe the world has left us blind. We sacrificed our eyes to the virtual mind. But I just took some time to make you see. The green world under blue skies, our real reality. Oh, yes it is. Oh, yes it is. Oh, yes it is.
And we're back, and we're ready to go. Philly versus Boston, the Flyers versus the Bruins. We got our jerseys on, we're ready to go. It's 2 against 1, though. I don't know. Those Philly guys are tough, though. I don't know if I want to go at it. Hey, Mark, that was a great song. I really love that. I mean, you say you're not a guitar player, but I love the guitar work on that as well.
Thank you.
As well as your singing.
Thank you.
Yeah. When did you write that song?
I wrote it a few years back, and I just sort of changed some parts of it around. I kind of revisit things from time
Yeah.
to time. But yeah, it's just sort of one of those that you come up with it sounds like a nice rhythm, it feels like it's driving, And then something, you know, like when you go with the melody and the melody sounds kind of weirdly familiar, but it doesn't sound like anything else, that's when I think that's okay.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's when I think
you're not
that's...
rewriting something that's
Yeah,
been done.
exactly. But it feels like it works, you know?
Right.
And how quick would you say it came together? Like for me, my experience, sometimes songs come together very quickly. Others, as you mentioned, you have a piece of music that's around for a while, or words that sit around for a while.
I think the idea came together fairly quickly. The idea came together rather quickly, the first part, like the first verse, things like that. And then the change and some of the other things are things I sort of just developed, saying, I don't know, it needs this, or when you just revisit it and think, got to do something different here, or I got to do this there, or maybe try playing the rhythm this way or that way. That's pretty much what I did. And I keep tweaking the words a little. I mean, I just tweaked them last week a little bit too.
Yeah.
When I was thinking about doing this, you know, it's like, oh, let me just change this. Or I start to think about those little things.
Right.
Do you know, like those little words, where they should be. You know, like but, so, and, like sort of words like that, because it's all part of the syllabization and the, you know.
That's great. I love that detail. That's your English teacher self comes in, I think, you know, and kind of getting into it. It's a little detail sometimes. I mean, you know, I don't know. Whenever you write something, I feel the same way whenever I just write. But hey, we got these shirts on. You know, one of the greatest things I think when you came to town was that you were from Philly.
Yep.
That you loved hockey.
Yep.
Not that you love the Flyers, but you know that's okay.
I bleed orange. You know.
I mean, and you weren't
it's
going to get
terrible
up on
these
it.
days.
You know, I don't blame you. I think if I went somewhere else, there's no way I'm going to like, you know, give, you know, you got Bruins for life kind of thing.
Sure.
We've had some, you know, there's been a lot of different moments at times over my life between the Bruins and the Flyers, and it's not just, you know, not just. The Bruins and the Flyers, I guess. Philly versus Boston. I don't know. I've been to Philly a few times though, but I think we have, you know, to lay down an olive branch. I think we have there's more similarities than differences.
Totally agree. Yep. Totally agree.
Yeah. And so, how do you feel like when you lived? I don't know. I'm not sure what percentage now. We're going almost half your life in Philly.
I know.
Half your life in Boston.
I moved up here in like my 30s, right?
Yeah.
And so yeah. It's almost half, you know.
Dan, you been down there at all?
A long time ago. It's been a while, but I did get to run up the Rocky Steps.
Hey, there you go.
I did that
Absolutely.
too. I made a cab driver pull over on the way to the airport.
So you could run up the steps.
Yeah, I said, hold on.
It's awesome.
He said, okay. We did it.
Probably happens all the time, you know.
Yeah, I know. Well, maybe. I don't know. It's funny. But there was a woman we were the work partner. I used to work for an insurance company, and she's like, "What are we doing?" And I think we had finished, and we were up late the night before. She's like, "Can't we just go to the airport now? We got to do this."
It's a good move. Do it while you can.
There's a lot of great things, but you know, and I always kind of felt. Even a friend of mine got married near there, but back in the '80s, and we went down. And we met a lot of people out there, and it's just kind of some similar spirit.
It is. I think they're very similar cities. And when I moved from South Philly to the North End, right?
Yeah.
So sort of one Italian neighborhood to another, and I felt perfectly at home. I felt perfectly at home in Boston from the time I got up here.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it's the people.
Working class.
And it's the
Working
people.
class.
Right, exactly. It's the people.
And when I turned 50, we had a bunch of people go in to the Bruins versus the Flyers. It just happened to be, and Mark came with his girlfriend Danielle. Even though we told him he can bring girlfriends, that Philly spirit. I don't care. I'm bringing her anyway. But anyway, and he, I think you came in street clothes, and I think you put your shirt on.
Put my shirt on when I got there.
Yep.
Your friend said he skied.
He's wicked skied.
He's wicked skied.
Who was your favorite Flyer growing up?
Oh well, I mean at the time when the Flyers I remember were the Broad Street Bullies. You know, like I remember Bobby Clark, Reggie Leach, you know, Bernie Perrant. You know, like these guys, you know, were all the rage then. And I remember because it was really cool because they have like these things like on Facebook where they're memories from the past and all. And they showed the parade from, it was 75 or 76. Yeah. I was there, not in the picture, but I was there on that same corner where they were showing. I remembered it was awesome.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean all my life, my father always had hockey on. It was always the Flyers, you know. So that's why lifelong, I've always been a fan.
I mean, you were pretty young, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, when the Flyers
I was
first.
probably like 9. I remember they let us out of school.
Oh yeah.
I was probably in like kindergarten or first grade, and my aunts took me to Broad Street to see the parade. It was pretty wild.
But it was just painful. Painful if you know, to have the Bruins lose to the Flyers.
I know, I bet.
And you know,
Right.
and I was at 74 or something like, or 70. You know, I don't know. But
Was
you
it
know,
74, 75,
74,
75,
75. Yeah,
76?
74, 75, and I think, like, what's going on here? I mean, you guys had
Right.
probably, well, I forget now. I mean, Bernie Parent did actually go to the WHA, or the Philadelphia Blazers or something, and he
Yep.
probably came right back. We lost Cheevers. We had
Yeah.
Gilles Gilbert
Yeah.
in that, but, man, I mean, just to kind of lose, you know, we had this dynasty thing going with Bobby Orr and, you know, and everything, but
Absolutely.
the whole thing going on, but it was painful.
I bet it was.
Painful.
Absolutely, I bet it was.
You know, to watch the Broad Street Bullies push the big bad Bruins around. I mean,
Right.
what the heck happened? WHA, I'll never forgive them.
Well, you got to blame the St. Louis Blues,
Oh, why?
because in the 60s, the Blues were beating everybody up, and people were getting really hurt. And Ed Snyder said no Flyers ever going to get beat up the way they did.
Okay.
Then, and then they built this team, and then you had guys like Dave Schultz. You know what I mean,
remember that,
right?
okay.
That came out of that. It was like nuts, right?
Oh, yeah.
So,
And let's talk about one of the all-time great tying sports and music, the Philadelphia Spectrum.
Oh,
One
the
of the
Spectrum.
legendary
yeah.
sporting arenas, but also
Good
concert
question.
concert
Any
venues.
shows did you see shows there?
I saw lots of shows at the Spectrum.
Wow.
I saw so many shows at the Spectrum. I saw Heart. I saw Eric Burdon and the Animals. I saw Steppenwolf. I saw Guns N' Roses. I saw Aerosmith. I saw so many shows at the Spectrum.
Wow. Oh, that's cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The Spectrum was totally cool. Grateful Dead. Like, everybody was at the Spectrum. It was
Yeah,
awesome.
That's
I-
legendary concerts.
Totally.
I
Great venue.
didn't take advantage of the old Boston Garden. I mean, I didn't see as many shows as I should
Yeah.
have, but I did see the Grateful Dead's last show ever at the Boston Garden. I saw Neil Young and Crazy Horse at
Nice.
the Boston Garden. Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. Oh no, that was the new Garden. Sorry, but the old Garden. Only a few. I wasn't as good at. I wish some of my friends were going in, like even out of high school. You know, going into shows at either the Garden or the old Music Hall, which is the Wang now.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
But
right.
you know, so anyway, that's great. That's great stuff.
Cool.
Hey, you want to do a little? I don't know. These are softball questions.
Okay.
Softball questions. I think some of these people have already. Some of these things have already. Mostly softball. We'll see. Just see if we can bring in.
I
okay,
might not know any of them.
Me too.
and we don't have any prizes, points, or anything like that. But we could, amp this up, or maybe, I can get
Okay.
I can get you a class of 2022 chocolate bar
Hey,
afterwards.
there we
maybe,
go.
or something
All
like
right.
that from Nick Rizio.
Hey, I bought one yesterday.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, all right. I say,
$2.
which kind do you like?
All of them.
All of them. Yeah. People like the caramel one.
I like the caramel one. The peanut butter
a lot.
one's good too.
Yeah, oh, all
Milk
right.
chocolate, dark chocolate. They're all
All right.
good.
I'll have to see. Check in with Mr. DiPrizio. Another.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, pretty good. So maybe that's
Comes in handy during
maybe
the day.
that should be the prize for this. But, all right, let's see. Acknowledged as one of the 100 greatest NHL players of all time, this Hall of Famer began his career as a Boston Bruin in 1965, but spent most of his time with Philadelphia, backstopping the Flyers to 2 Stanley Cup wins in 74, 75. Don't yell it out. Was it A, Joe Watson, B, Pete Peters, C, Bernie Parent, or D, Dave Schultz? Would you like me to repeat the question?
I know. I don't think it was Bernie Parent, and I don't think it was Dave Schultz. I think A or B, because I don't know anything about this. So I think A or B, and this is only from what sounds like it might be right.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with A.
Let's go to Dan Cody on that.
Let's see. I'll go with. I'll do the opposite. B.
Wow. I thought this was a softball question, and both
Nah.
of you.
It's basketball, you know.
I was trying to make it not too easy. Backstopping the Flyers. So
Oh, backstopping.
was the key word. If we were in English class right now, I would
I know.
underline
Yep.
backstop
Yep.
the flags. 'Cause I didn't want to make it so obvious.
So he was the catcher?
Yes. Bernie,
Exactly.
Bernie
So
Perrant.
it was Bernie Perrant.
Bernie
There you
Perrant,
go.
yeah, backstop. So he was originally a Bruin.
I had no idea.
Yeah, he was drafted by the Bruins. They let him, and I think they let him go in when the expansion draft.
Yeah.
Perhaps check me on that, but basically, because sometimes you think like, well, Jerry Cheevers, I love Jerry Cheevers, but
Right.
we could have had Bernie.
Right.
Well, I got to say, even though as I grew up playing a lot of goalie, not to go back to the old days, but that was what I was spending a lot of time doing. And I guess even though he didn't like the Flyers and Bernie Perrant, that's the guy.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Stand-up goalie.
Yeah.
He was there. He was always in the right position.
Yep.
So.
And well, that's key. That's what you got to do. All right.
All right, we're going to go back for a music-based
Okay.
question here. This is I'm hoping this is a softball or a beach ball.
Fingers crossed.
What Philly-based American music performance and dance television ran from 1952 through 1989? Was hosted by Dick Clark and coined the catchphrase, "It's got a good beat and you can dance to it." Was it A, Hullabaloo, B, Soul Train, C, The Mike Douglas Show, or D, American Bandstand?
American Bandstand.
D.
D, American Bandstand.
Yeah.
Yes, that was the beach ball question.
Yep.
But some of the other things
The
pretty
Soul
good.
Train was cool too.
Soul
That came
Train.
later.
Now,
Yeah.
where did they film Soul Train?
I think that was around that area too.
How about Mike Douglas? Was
That I didn't know.
Yeah,
But
no,
I may have vaguely.
I
but
think
yeah.
you guys are just a little too young, but the Mike Douglas Show, when I was a kid, I'm not sure what time it played in Philly because it was syndicated, but basically at 4 o'clock on Channel 4, you had the Mike Douglas Show, and on Channel 7, in the Boston area, for our national audience, right?
Yeah.
Right. And international.
Right, an international audience. The Merv Griffin Show was on 7, and you had to kind of check. I had a paper route too, so I had to juggle, and I had to watch Dark Shadows. Which
Dark
you might have been
Shadows.
into, Dark Shadows,
There you go.
I think, and you might want to catch that in reruns if you have
Yep.
to. You'd have to see like what music acts were going to be in, because Mike Douglas was like they were both old band singers, like big band singers, both Merv
see,
Griffin
I
and Mike
didn't know
Douglas.
that, yeah.
Merv was a little cooler than Mike, but he'd have these crazy, like he had John Lennon and Yoko Ono as co-hosts all week, or he'd have Sly and the
Right.
Family Stone.
That's
I mean,
awesome.
but then they'd always stay on. No one would come on and just leave. They all had to just pull up a chair,
Right.
have a big thing. So,
Good
and it
one.
was filmed in Philadelphia, so it was the coolest.
Awesome.
That was the coolest thing,
Yeah.
definitely. I highly recommend checking out. Mike Douglas was fun, but he was awkward.
Right.
He always sang himself at the end or something.
Cool.
It was very, very cool. Philly thing. All right. I think we have time for a few more. This
Okay.
is a little bit out there, but I'm hoping, Dan, there's no way you're getting this one.
Okay.
So, all right.
Could be the same for me.
What glam metal band from Philadelphia that was active in the late 1980s and early 1990s that featured, I don't want to give it away, someone on the guitar that you might know, reunited with all original members in 2013 and has played occasional shows since then? Are you getting? Am I giving anything? Anything going? Any bells and whistles going off here?
Only glam band.
In Philly? In Philly?
Yeah, I mean it was the era.
Right.
That was the era, really.
All right. I'll give
There
you
were so many.
I'm going to give you the 4. This is kind of an out there question. but,
Okay, cool.
Was it A, Motley
Oh,
Crue?
my buzz is not working.
No. B, the Lemonheads.
Okay.
C, Heaven's Edge. Or D, Cinderella.
It'd have to be Cinderella. Yeah, right.
Cinderella?
I would say Cinderella.
Eh.
Oh, so Heaven's Edge then. So Heaven's Edge.
Featuring Jimmy Marciano.
Oh, yeah,
Marciano.
Oh yeah, that's right. He was in that band. Yeah, he was in that band.
I just happened
Yeah.
to key on this when I was looking at Philly stuff. Was
Looking up Philly bands. Can you find all that stuff out there?
Yeah.
Oh,
I
that's
found
cool.
this. It was
That's
a
cool.
friend of yours that
Yep.
has been in Get the Let Out
Yeah, he was.
for many years. And anyway, did you guys
was.
play?
Not just for
just
fun.
friends.
Just fun. Yeah, just friends. We grew up together.
Friends from the
yeah.
So if you like then he's not doing it anymore, but was get the lead out for a while. They put it. We went one time at
we went that time. That's right.
The House of Blues in Boston.
That was
and they were
fun.
just
We had
like,
a fun
wow.
time. Absolutely.
Yeah, there was like they don't pretend to be Led Zeppelin. They just
No,
play the
they just
music
do their
and
thing.
do their
Yeah,
own
they
thing,
just
and
do
they
their
have
thing.
two lead
Yeah.
guitarists and.
Yeah, that was a while ago, wasn't it?
But I came across this and I was like, Heaven's Edge. I didn't know if it was something.
I do remember,
Do you remember?
that.
Did you see them?
No, probably not.
All right. all right. Hey, so Jimmy, whatever. We're trying to give him a nod.
These are things I know about. I don't know about. You
Right.
see?
All right.
It's because you know too much.
Exactly.
Let's see how we're doing here. We gotta get to another song for you, but. All right, one more trivia question. The Hall of Fame right winger played for half his 22-year career with the Flyers, but never won a Stanley Cup with them. However, he did win 3 as member of the Penguins, Hurricanes, and Bruins, respectively. He's the oldest player to score. He was 43 to score a goal in the finals. I think Dan knows already. I'm going to give you the choices.
Okay, the choices.
No, I can tell Dan doesn't know already because he didn't make no. He did. It's if I say.
Okay.
A. Rick Tocchet. B. Sil Apps. C. Mark Recchi. Or D. Jaromir Jagr.
Wow. It's got to be Recchi or Jagr, I would think.
Which is it?
I'll go with C.
Mark Recchi. Wasn't that cool? It was Recchi.
I was thinking Recchi.
It was
yeah,
Recchi.
Yeah.
It was Recchi because it's kind of cool. He finished, but they played a long career. 22 years in the NHL.
Yeah. He ended up playing for Boston.
Yeah.
You're not listening.
Oh.
English teacher, come on. He's the lights are getting them. It's too much.
Exactly.
He's like, what am I doing? Where am I?
So where am I? I like this plant.
Take out your pens, get your notebooks.
I was supposed to be writing this stuff down,
Talk to the plant.
You got to take notes, You got to take notes.
I should have given you a little stenos.
Exactly.
You could have written down.
I got to take notes.
But so when it said that he finished with the Bruins.
Yep. That gave it away. Yeah.
Yeah, it was his last year. It was kind of cool.
Exactly.
But he'd already won some stuff. Some guys never got to win the cup that played a long time.
He's won, right?
But he won. So he won. No, he won 3.
Oh, okay.
So
okay.
with
Carolina.
Pittsburgh
and Carolina.
Hurricanes. The Hurricanes. It used to be the Hartford
Whalers.
Whalers or whatever.
Hartford Whalers.
Hartford Whalers, but when they first came
Right.
out to WHA, it was like, I don't know if it was Boston. I don't know. I saw a crazy game. They were giving tickets away, and every time they blow a whistle, anything would happen. And they had all these kids with nobody paid. Everybody just throw stuff on the ice.
Nice.
That was WHA 73, 4, something like that.
Cool.
So, all right. So how about some Philly stuff, like just regular Philly stuff, like
All right.
everybody knows. So what do you
Like
think?
the city.
There's a statue. Joe Frazier or Rocky Balboa?
Well, there's a Rocky statue.
Yeah, what do you prefer?
Well, I mean, you got to go with the real. Got to go with Joe Frazier,
There you
right?
go,
Joe
right?
Frazier's gym,
Joe
right?
Frazier.
Absolutely.
Frazier.
Right. Got to go with the real boxer,
Yeah.
right? As opposed to the one who's sort
I didn't know that till I was looking this up, that there was a, Joe Frazier's
Yeah,
down.
Joe Frazier's gym is what's down there. I don't know if it's still around, but yeah, Joe Frazier's gym was in North Philly.
And I know people do this all the time, but Geno's or Pat's? Or someplace else.
I used to like Geno's. Pat's is cool too.
Right.
They're sort of right across the street from each other, but now they're like so expensive. Steve's Prince of Steaks is pretty good, because Pat's is, the king of steaks, right?
Yeah.
But Steve's Prince of Steaks is pretty good. I mean, you get generally a decent cheesesteak wherever you go. But see, the thing about Geno's, I remember, was the quality of the steak is really good. It's it's that shaved round steak, and it was really good. You got to get it with cheese whiz. With. Whiz with.
Whiz with. So,
Yeah.
So how you say it?
Whiz with.
With. Oh,
Yep.
that's
Makes
good.
it easy.
Any
quick.
place around here that you can get one, you think? That you know? Have you
I
found
make 'em.
anyone? You make them.
Right.
He's a great cook, too.
I
know
make
he's
'em.
yeah.
Right. I make them. Yeah.
Well, all right. So that's we won't get into the rumble.
That was good.
But
Yeah. All right. I'm
But
just
we-
starting to wake up now. I mean, come on, right?
so we're gonna get some more questions from Bobby Clark.
Right. Exactly.
So well, I guess that's we got to come to the end here. As we can keep going, I'm sure. We can come up with
absolutely.
some more things.
No doubt.
It's been a real great pleasure having you on. A lot of fun.
It's been a pleasure being here. I really appreciate this. Thank you.
So
Absolutely.
thanks, and
it's always fun.
Yeah. So we'd like to have you play us out with a song. What do you think?
Okay, yeah, absolutely.
All right. What are you gonna do?
Light the night.
Light the night.
Light the night. More of a feeling, I guess. Than
Yeah.
anything
All
else.
right, okay. Well, okay, folks.
What's the idea behind that song?
Well, again, it starts with just the chords and the melody, but that the feeling is just sort of like reaching out to, I guess, the universe, reaching out to the sort of powers that be. It's really just a feeling. It's just a feeling. You feel something, and you just kind of try to put words to the feeling. That's what I think it is.
All right. Very cool.
Mainly,
All right. Hey, well, thanks a lot. And folks, thanks for tuning in. If you're a musician or an entertainer with a past, present, or future in the industry, you want to if you'd like to appear on the gig show, please let us know. We haven't established that much of a social media presence yet. We need to get on that. But you can shoot me an email at jdorman60@gmail.com or get in touch with Abington Community Access Media right here. We'll see if we can get you on at some point. But let's play us out with Light the Night.
Cool.
Sweet sister Mercy, shelter me in my life of wrong and right. Wrap me in your veils and comfort me, yeah. Smile and make my life alright. Won't you heal my wounds tonight? Oh yeah, Sister Mercy. Great Mother Moonlight, shine for me. Steer me clearly through the dark. Leave no pathways unknown to me, no. Shine your light and set it right. Won't you help me through the night? Oh, you know, got to find the warmth in your glow. Got to see your eye in my mind, like this night. Alright, yeah. White silver starlight gleam for me, pierce the blackness of the night sky. Speak of fates and times enlighten me, yeah. And tear the veil right from my eyes. Won't you guide